Okay, so do I really work in my garden every day? Well, let's see. First thing I do when I wake up, besides have my coffee, go online, answer questions, post, upload video, and all that crap inside, which I do when it's dark out. As soon as it gets light out, I come out here and I turn on my irrigation system and I water every day between 1 gallon and 2 gallons per plant, depending on how hot it's been outside here in Florida. So right now I'm watering 2 hours, that's 2 gallons as I'm doing stuff. Now, how do I know it's 2 hours? Well, I got an app on my phone and I set it and it counts 2 hours, and then it rings and I shut it off. Sometimes an hour, it just depends. I mean, if it was raining out, I would only do an hour, 1 gallon, because the rain will give it some. If we have rain all day and a downpour, then I may not even do it. So you got to kind of judge it. So right now, I fertilize twice a week. I fertilize on Sunday and Wednesday. And here you go. I got Thrive in there right now. I measured it out. I filled it up. It's going through the tube into my fertilizer ejector, which I adjust. Got the pressure set right. And it's going down to my garden. Okay, great. I also have some Mexican sunflower in there, plus some comfrey in there. It's fermenting. This here is going to be 35 gallons of fertilizer in another week or two. We'll see how long it takes. I stir it every day. I got a little stir over there. So for right now, let's once I turn that on, it's doing its thing. Now I could go over to the garden and tend to my garden. Okay, here I am at the garden, and what am I going to do today? Well, I walked through it, made sure the bird netting was up, there's no tomatoes on the ground, nothing got to them, everything's looking good. I read the leaves on the plant to see everything's healthy. Now, I got my gorilla cart. This thing's a blessing. I got the really big heavy duty one. You could hook it onto your lawnmower or a tractor or just pull it. I pull it because it's easy to get up into the garden. And what do I have today? Well, I'm fertilizing with Thrive liquid right now as we talk. I do that twice a week. But it's been a few weeks, so I'm going ahead and using Vigoro. And I'm putting this, it has a little calcium, and I'm putting this in between my tomato plants, which I'll show you how I do that. And I also have I got some lawn lime pelletorized over here. It's less than $5 for, what is it, 40 pounds? 40-pound bag, less than $5. Basically, it's calcium. And there's other stuff in there. If you read it, you got calcium, magnesium, and, you know, some other stuff in there. Basically, that's going to stop blossom end rot on my tomato plants. It's going to stop it on my pepper plants. And it's going to go ahead and stop it on the watermelon. So I'm giving everything a total. Now for my grapevines that you see around. Okay, grapevines are on a regiment right now. I'm doing 10, 10, 10 one weekend. And the following weekend, I'm doing calcium. Then I go back the next weekend and I do 10, 10, 10. The follow weekend, calcium. And I'm doing that weekly as they're shooting out vines and they're producing new growth. And I'll do that for a couple months. That's just what they like doing. Now the watermelons, I'm watering today 2 hours, and that's 2 gallon an hour heads on those. So that's going to be 8 gallons of water. Well, you're not going to overwater watermelon. That's why they call them watermelon. They're full of water. Right now, they're shooting out new growth, and they want a lot of fertilizer. So I'm making sure I hit them with the 10, 10, 10, and I also hit them with some calcium and some Virgo. I don't do it every day, just every couple days, twice a week. I hit it with something else. I hit it with something else. I hit it with something else. Plus, it's getting the AgroThrive through the drip system. So it's getting AgroThrive dripped, so that promotes the growth and makes it for a healthy plant. I'm putting in the calcium, and I'm giving it some other stuff, just because that's what it likes. It likes a lot of that stuff. So anyway, let me tend to my plants here, and I'll show you how I fertilize my tomato plants. I'll start with those, then go to my pepper. Okay, I'm in front of my tomato plants. These are Cherokee Purple, Black Beauty, Brandywine. They're all producing good. I got bird netting in front of them. This is bird netting. The tomatoes, these are ready to pick and go on my sandwich, but there's other fruit here, fruit there, going all the way up to the top. So what do I want to do? I want to get some fertilizer, and I want to measure. So let me open the bag. I'll cut it open over here. You could pull it. It's got a little pull thing, but that gets messy. So what I'm going to do is I got this little PVC cap. In the beginning, I gave it more. Now I could give it less. But I'm going to take a PVC cap. And right here, in between, let's see, is it on the ground? Let's see, right here. Okay. In between the two plants, I'm not going to put it around. In the beginning, I put it around. But right now, I'm going to take this. I'm just going to put it right here. Right here. In between, it's going to feed that plant, and it's going to feed that plant. And I'll do the same thing there, and I'll do the same thing there, and I'll do down the whole row. And then I'm feeding two plants at one time. This will soak in when it rains, and the roots of that are over here, and the roots of that are over here. So you don't have to sprinkle it around the whole thing. Just put it right in the center like that, and that's how I'm feeding my plants. So let me go ahead and do this row on video, and then I'll move on to something else, show you my pepper plants. Okay, I'm going to do this whole row of tomato plants right now with some fertilizer. Everything with the video is harder. You got to turn on the video, you got to angle it, you got to get everything prepared. Usually I just come in doing my garden and I just knock it all off. So for the sake of the video, here we go. Gonna take a capful. Normally I would just, oh, there you go. I got a bunch on the ground now. But I'm gonna take a capful, and I gotta pull up my bird netting, because you can't just throw it in. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it right here in between those two plants. Can take another capful, put it right there between those. Okay, so there you go. I just did this side of the bed. I'm going to go do that side of the bed and do all the others. I use the Vigoro. It's for tomatoes and vegetables, but it has calcium. Just enough of calcium to, if you notice, none of my tomatoes, knock on wood, have blossom end rot. That's a great thing. So I use this, and I believe it helps in preventing blossom end rot. But I also use the limestone, so let me go get that. Oh, by the way, the Vigoro is time released. So that's going to stay on there, and when it rains, it's going to soak down in very little at a time. It's time release. That should be soaking in for 3 weeks. So that's good. It stretches it out 3 weeks. The AgroThrive, twice a week it gets. But now this stuff right here, the limestone, as soon as it rains, it's gonna dissolve. You could also put this in water and give it a drench, a soil drench, just pour it on. But I just do it like this, same thing, just right there. So that's gonna soak in. So let me do all of them. Okay, so there you go. I went ahead and I'm fertilizing right now. If you can see, my drip system's going right now. So it's getting watered, getting 2 gallons today in an hour. I mean in 2 hours, a gallon an hour each plant. I fertilize with the Vigoro. That's gonna last 3 weeks. I put some calcium on there. When we get rain, it's gonna soak in. It's not gonna soak in right now, it's not raining. And I got the AgroThrive going, so it's getting some good fertilization. But if you look how healthy all of my tomatoes are when I did the full garden tour, you'll notice I don't have blossom end rot. Plus, all the tomatoes look good. All my leaves look nice and vibrant. That's what it takes. You can't just like plant tomatoes, fertilize it one time because fertilizer is expensive and say, oh, I fertilized my tomatoes. Now I got insects, my leaves are curling, I got blight, I got blossom end rot. Well, there's a reason for that. You got tomatoes splitting. You have to water consistently. And when I mean consistently, either you're gonna water a gallon, gallon and a half, or 2 gallons a day, depending on the weather and how hot it is, and you watch your leaves. If the leaves are curling, they want more water. Or it's windy, you have to kind of know what's going on there. If you got blossom end rot, well, you screwed up because you didn't put calcium in it. If the leaves are getting blight, there's too much moisture. That's why down below I got ventilation. I trimmed it all up, and now I got the big growth up top because I wanted airflow. So there's a lot that goes into planning out your garden and growing tomatoes. If you have any questions, put it down below. I'll be happy to answer. You know, doing the video, I can't cover everything, but this is it. I tend to my garden. Every day I'm in the garden. I'm fertilizing twice a week with AgroThrive. Plus I'm putting other soil amendments on there. And that's just to keep a nice, healthy garden. I wouldn't be able to show you all this if my garden was falling apart. So anyway, let me get going. I got work to do. I basically do the same thing on the pepper plants. I do the same thing on the watermelon plants. I do the same thing on my eggplants. Except the eggplants, they're not going to get blossom end rot, so I don't need the calcium over there. But the Vigoro has a little in it, so they do get a little bit of calcium. But they're getting the AgroThrive right now, and that's what's making my bell pepper plants, they're up to my chest right now. And there's, whew, it's incredible. Between 25, 50, and even 75 eggplants right now on my eggplant vines. That's incredible. So needless to say, I'm not going to be able to eat them all. My neighbors are going to enjoy. I'm going to try bringing them in the house and blanching them and breading them and vacuum sealing them and freezing them. And we'll see how all that goes too. Because normally I just enjoy them for the season and then they're gone. So I'm going to try to preserve them this year and see what happens because I got so many of them. Same thing with the peppers. I love peppers. I'm picking the peppers when they're green and eating them because they're nice and crisp and I like them. I know. You're supposed to let them change color. Not all of them do, but when they do, then it's a different texture and you got more minerals in it. But if you waited for all of them to turn color, they're all going to turn color about the same time. You're not going to be able to eat them all. So I enjoy my garden. When a tomato turns ripe, I eat it and I give away. When eggplants get big enough, I pick them and I eat them. When the peppers are growing, I mean, they're delicious crisps. I just chomp on them for a little snack, put them in my salad. I mean, in a sandwich, they're great. It's okay that they're green. You'll still get some that are colorful later on in the season. Why wait? Anyway, that's called enjoying your fruit of the labor, enjoying your garden. Enjoy it while you can. All right, let me get to work. I babble too much. Hope you enjoyed.